So let me see if I could properly start this live stream. Here it is. You ready, Janet?
Yeah.
Hello, we are live. I will do the entire broadcast like this. Can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it, Janet. But it was a good idea nonetheless. Welcome, everyone, to our Success Mastermind for Tuesday, the 30th of November, last day of the month, 2021. 1 month left in this glorious year. And my goodness, what a month it's going to be. We got holidays coming up. We got shopping season. We got, of course, yesterday was Cyber Monday, which is a made-up event because that's what people do. And today is, I suppose, the extended sales of Cyber Monday because my inbox is full again. Imagine that. So glad to be here with everyone. I got an idea that came up for me while I was in the gym where I just came from, which is always good. In fact, my wife took the car to her, she had to get some blood work done. And so I decided today, instead of riding my bicycle to the gym, which is nice exercise, but not as nice as running. You see in the winter, which we're coming up on here, right? Winter's coming. So autumn anyway, it's cool in the morning here in the desert. And so, riding a bicycle can be a little bit chilly, right? I don't feel like putting on a coat. So I just ran instead and I didn't feel the coldness at all. It was down around like 50 degrees, like 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh. All right. So anyway, glad to be here with you all. And while I was at the gym doing my back and triceps workout, I got an idea and I'm going to share that idea with you all yesterday. Of course, I'm sitting in today for Adrian Garner, who has garnered for himself a week off. He is in the UK. And if you want to talk about cold, he's the guy to talk to right now. Because here's a guy who lives in the Cayman Islands, who right now is in UK. And the weather is different there, believe it or not. So shout out to Adrian. Thanks for all you do, my friend. Here's what's coming up for me today. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let me tell you what's coming up for you today. And that is Corporate Curios with Lavenia Barnabas. That is happening at 5 p.m. Eastern US time. Excuse me, which is what, 10 p.m. UK time, right? So GMT minus 5. All right, so 5 plus 5 would be 10. So 10 p.m. UK time, get together with Lavenia Barnabas. 10 p.m. is like middle of the day for her because she never sleeps anyway. And she's always got some interesting insights on corporate life and how to survive it and thrive, in spite of it. So that being said, here's the idea that came up for me today. While I was running to the gym, I was listening to a lecture, like an audiobook, seminar kind of lecture. And then I got to the gym, I listened to a little bit of metal while I was lifting weights. And then I switched over to an audio presentation, which is one that we've actually discussed before. Of course, the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. The topic being discussed was some of the material in that book. But as an aside, by the way, the speaker was Bob Proctor. I was listening to Bob. And he was relaying a story of this time when he and another of his associates were invited to a dinner at Lloyd Conant's house. Lloyd Conant was Earl Nightingale's business partner in a company called Nightingale Conant. Anybody ever heard of that, right? This is the company that popularized audiobooks and motivational recordings, records and tapes and what have you. Anyone who's been around, the whole motivation, inspiration, entrepreneurship, that whole space for any period of time, probably in your library, you've got a publication from Nightingale Conant. Brian Tracy published a lot through them. Of course, Earl Nightingale himself, The Strangest Secret, right? It's all Nightingale Conant material. Anyway, Lloyd was talking about, talking to Bob and to this other guy. I don't remember the other guy's name. But he was from Arkansas, and he was in his kitchen talking about his vision for this worldwide enterprise where we would put Earl Nightingale's speeches and lectures into every home in the world. And he had this vision for this beautiful company, which of course became Nightingale Conant. And it was a big vision. And he said he based it and in his approach on the teachings that were gained in this little green book written in the early 1900s. And in fact, you are holding that book in your hand right now. Bob said, as he was relating the story, because it was about, the forward to the book, which he republished because it's out of copyright and anybody can publish The Science of Getting Rich and just slap a forward on it and say that you published it. That being said, Nightingale Conant, right? That whole enterprise took off and became wildly successful. Now, that story reminded me of something else that I've recently read from a more modern personality, regardless of current events and all the media around this personality, but something Donald Trump talked about in one of his books. In fact, the title of the book was Think Big. I think the original title of that book was Think Big and Kick Ass. And then some people got offended because, of course, people get offended. So it's just Think Big. But the idea that he shared with me through that book was that if you're going to think, well, then think big. Now, let's not take that for granted. If you're going to think, again, I'll quote Earl Nightingale. He said, if most people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. So thinking is work, right? Henry Ford said it's the hardest work there is. So, and in fact, Wallace said the same thing. Sustained consecutive thought is laborious and requires the expenditure of more energy than any other work that man is capable of. Sustained and consecutive thought. He said this is especially true when truth is contrary to appearances. All right, so here's the truth. The truth is what you're thinking about where you're going. Okay, the truth is here's what you're here to create. Here is your objectives, your goals, your purposes. That's the truth. That's burning inside of you. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's not just a little flicker. Hopefully you've got a burning desire. And that is the truth of what you intend to become and perform, right? To do and ultimately to have, right? These results. There it is. That is the truth of your being, which then leads to the doing and then the having. Be, do, and have in that order. Okay. And then there's all these appearances. Well, I don't have a big enterprise right now. I've got a handful of customers, or I've got no customers, or I've got, debts, prior obligations, lack, limitations, circumstances, and my story about it all, right? Based on the appearances, which any dummy can show up and use their 5 physical senses, right? We could see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, and be totally deductive, right, about that, and just let it all in and go into agreement with it all. Agree. It's easy to agree, right? Groupthink, conformity, easy. Any half a moron can do that, right? So yeah, you showed up, you looked at your circumstances, you allowed yourself to get emotionally involved in those, and then you can only maintain one emotional and psychic state at a time, right? So if that's what's in control, if the story and the observation of the circumstances and what you think about it and your whole your whole oratory about it, if that is what it's in control of your emotions and your expectations, well, then so much for the truth, right? I guess that's not the truth after all. You get to steer that rudder, right? You get to steer that ship. And if we keep steering in the direction of appearances, what do we get? We get more of the same. Back to what Trump said, if you're going to think big, you're going to do a project to take on a deal or something, do big deals. Big. I mean, it's the same expenditure of attention, energy, effort. If thinking is the hardest work there is and everything else is subordinated to that, well, then let's choose some big thoughts and then let's do some big work. Now, another way to say this, I've quoted several people already, right? We'll throw one more, would be Grant Cardone with just the title of his book, 10X, right? 10X, what is that? That he's saying, think big. Okay, so here's your 1X, here's your original idea about it. And you can do that or not, right? Your choice. But what if we just did that at greater orders of magnitude? It's just a bigger consideration and a bigger undertaking and a bigger result. And yes, here's where a lot of people get tripped up. Bigger blunders, mistakes, risks. Okay. And you see that could take us off course if we continue to look at, well, I've blundered before. Look at those circumstances. Look at those appearances. What if I blunder even bigger? Could I even survive such a blunder? I was just having this conversation with my wife. We got some big plans. And I just offered her an idea that they're not big enough. I mean, if Lloyd Conant could say, I'm going to build this huge enterprise, and he did. And he didn't do it alone, right? Here he was talking to a couple of his lieutenants, right? Here's Bob and this other guy. And here he is with his business partner, Earl Nightingale, who arguably had the best, speaking voice in terms of anyone who's ever heard Earl Nightingale speak, his voice just goes right into you. Like that guy could do some oratory. But so the planets had kind of aligned for that. Okay. But same thing with us. When we look at what we truly want, the truth of our being and what we're here to accomplish and what inspires us. Doesn't it feel right? You see, where I'm thinking this guy, Lloyd, he was inspired. What does inspired mean? In spirit. He was in the spirit of it. Okay. Never mind appearances. The business doesn't exist yet, but he was in the spirit of it. And when you're in the spirit, when you're inspired, that is not bound by other useful things like, reason and logic. That's all good and useful. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. Okay. But the inspiration, the imagination, the intuition, these things which are unbound, these higher mental faculties are what we could start, if we want, we could start basing our decisions and our expectations on. And forsake and disagree with appearances, circumstances, the past, right? What are circumstances? They're the results, they're the effects, not the cause, they're the effects of the decisions we made in the past, which set no precedent. So there it is. There's the crux of it. Precedent. Because that occurred in the past, I now expect that to occur in the future. Or maybe I can do incrementally better, stronger, faster, tiny little bits more. Because after all, look around. Most people agree. 99 million out of 100 million people agree that you can't. You remember those commercials? 9 out of 10 dentists recommend such and such toothpaste. Okay, great, because you paid them off. But okay, well, if they all agree, well, I should agree too. You got people walking around with this white coffee cup with like some green, mermaid looking thing on it. I agree. I should walk around with the fashionable white cup with the green mermaid thing on it. Agreement. It's so easy. And again, that's not thinking. That's not thinking. So if you're going to think, and I guess this will be the title of our talk today, thinking without precedent. In other words, if we could click the reset button, if we actually had a reset button, like on a calculator, the clear button or all clear, right? So you're doing your equation, 2 + 2, 5 × 5, blah, 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 right? And now you're done with that equation and you've gotten your answer. If you didn't click the clear button, well, could you continue with any workable equations at that point? No, you'd just be writing on top of existing data, which is not relevant to the forthcoming data, right? We must make a new calculation now. And so I need to clear out this data. Otherwise, I cannot use this computer. It's that obvious. So what's the problem here? The problem is we don't have a clear button. At least not one that's easy to push, just like the calculator, right? And I would say part of the argument for why it's good and right to have a memory and to use standard observation and reason and all that is because you got to work with what is. And after all, if you had to relearn everything, right? If you had to relearn everything every time you stepped out of the house, you wouldn't survive, right? You'd be walking out into traffic and everything else. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. So memory is good. That's a good, useful faculty. Reason, good, useful, right? Yeah, nice. But understand this too. The calculator, even though you click the all clear button, didn't forget how to add, subtract, divide, multiply, square roots and tangents and everything else. It didn't forget all that stuff. All clear meaning Here's the temporal data. Here's what is useful now, but not later. And here's the hard written data, right? Here is, the fact of addition. Addition exists and it will never not exist. And remember that always, regardless of the data we put on top of that prime datum, that addition does exist. Okay, fan-friggin-tastic. Okay, so I think that's where we have to find a line. If we could say valid or invalid, okay. So like the calculator says, yeah, addition, subtraction, division, right? That stuff exists. It's valid always. The number 2, the number 583, whatever other numbers here, and whatever sequence of key presses, relevant for a moment and then not relevant anymore as soon as that clear button is pressed. Can we have that sort of introspection, right? We have certainly things that we could look at in our own lives, which we could say are hard programmed in. That's a blessing and a curse, by the way. Okay, so yes, we've got things that are hard programmed in, which are good and help us survive and proceed through life and whatever. Okay, but some of those things are not good, that are hard programmed in. We went through our book study last night, and some of you were there with us live, and we were reading Joseph Murphy, Power of Your Subconscious Mind, chapters 5 through 8. And one of the things that he talked about was how failure is brought about by a lack of confidence and too much effort. The two go hand in hand, by the way, right? So why would I put excessive effort? I am talking about playing a bigger game, thinking big, okay, which you may think means more effort or more busyness, not necessarily, okay? But why would one do that? Well, I lack the confidence that I'm going to get the result. Therefore, let me get really frantic. So a lack of confidence and too much effort, they kind of go hand in hand. But what if we're truly thinking big? What if we're inspired? What if we find where to hit that clear button and where to just say, all right, we're going to cut off all that. That's the past. And now using good, right, logical reason and everything else, coupled with imagination, intuition, etc., right? We're going to now move forward and create, instead of being so damn deductive all the time and so agreeable. We're going to be inductive. We're going to initiate a thought, an action, a decision, a vision. And Solomon said, where there is no vision, the people perish. So you could see a lot of people walking around 100% deductive and perishing. Do I need to offer anyone a magnifying glass? Do I need to give you exhibits? Probably not. You could see it all over the place. So it's the quality of the thought. It's the quality of the decision and the expectation. It's that, and I would say the barometer for that quality would be: are you feeling inspired? Are you enthusiastic, right? Or are you striving, lacking confidence, forcing solutions, right? So there it is. There's the barometer, right? Are you in the flow, or are you going swimming against the tide, so to speak? There's the barometer. And when we're in the flow, we know it because we feel it. We feel good. We're inspired. We're moving quickly, and it doesn't feel like work. So for me, and I guess I'll end off with this. For me, the idea that's coming up for me today is how willing am I to forsake my best thinking, which got me this far but not further. This playing small and surviving and making money and good health and all that. Yeah, fantastic. And yes, I'm grateful. And yes, I've been successful to whatever degree. I can go ahead and I can recognize that. But am I willing to forsake some of that thinking, which got me here, but is not getting me further? Can I find, here are the prime data that continue to work in my life. Don't walk out in front of moving traffic, right? That's good. Okay, I know that. I remember that. That's nice. Okay, but can I also hit that reset button and say, you know what? I'm going to start an enterprise. I'm going to take this action. I'm going to do this thing that I've not done before. I don't know how to do it yet. But because of my thinking big and expecting big things, and being willing to put myself out there without having to know all the answers in advance, because I don't. In fact, nobody does. Can I now attract other people who resonate with that vision? I've done a lot of work in the home business network marketing space, and a lot of times people so let's say they want to set up another income stream, they want to have a side business or replace their income or whatever their motivations are, but I don't know anybody. Now, they might be 70 years old when they make a statement like that, a foolish statement like that. I don't know anybody. Really? You just showed up on planet Earth yesterday. That's profound. You don't know anybody in 70 years. Where have you been? What they're really saying is, all I know is other people who are broke like me, and up until recently haven't been willing to do anything about it. And now, just because I've had some sort of an awakening or something and I'm motivated, doesn't mean I have any expectation of other people to be, because, same old, same old, same old, same old. Now, you talk to the 20-year-old, yeah, they know lots of people who are looking to hustle, get in the game, whatever. But the 70-year-old, well, and I know that's a generality, all right? So I got 70-year-olds that are kicking so much ass. It's awesome, all right? But but look at that. Look at what was learned. Look at what calculations are very comfortable, very agreeable, right? There's the groupthink, right? Look at what calculations have set in as I don't want to say irreversible programming, but very you got to have a whole lot of will and intent to extricate yourself from that sort of programming. Okay, so I mean, it's folly just to hear it come out of our own mouths sometimes when we defeat ourselves with things like, I just gave you that one example. I don't know anybody. Well, I don't at the moment, because I haven't even asked, know anybody who might be as motivated as me. Okay, well, that would be more factual. Well, great news. There's 7 billion other people on the planet, right? So you've got more planet here, and we can get in touch with people. There's this thing called marketing, and it's good, and you can do it. You can do it. You might not be spectacular. I'm not spectacular at it, but I've still sold well over $100 million worth of stuff in my time being a mediocre marketer. Not that great. So we can do something with that if people are willing to get out of their own way. Quite often in my life, I haven't been willing. I've wanted to play small. I've wanted to stay in this little box of comfort. Does that sound weird, hearing it come out of my mouth? Well, look, we can't solve a problem unless we can confront the problem. I could sit here and I suppose I can lie to myself and you, and most people do. Lie, right? Where's the evolution in that? I need good data, right? I can't make bricks without clay. I need data, right? And the data is, John, you've been playing small. There's your datum. Now you've got something to work with. I'll own that for myself. You can do whatever you want with this. Hopefully these ideas spark something for you. But I got all that out of hearing, Bob relay the story of Lloyd Conant standing in his kitchen talking about this company he was going to build, and he did. Wow. Maybe I should listen to, 10 more minutes worth of the recording. Here's the one thing that I know I'm really good at. I never lack material, right? So in your world, with whatever you're doing, right? What are your strengths? Mine, I know what mine are. Some of them. I know what some of them are. I know that I've suppressed some of them. What are your strengths that you could exploit right now? It's the last day of the month. So you get all of December to demonstrate something awesome. What are you going to demonstrate based on what you've already got, right? You don't need to go reinvent yourself or something, right? You keep improving and all that, but working with what you've got, as long as you're willing to look and recognize it, as long as you got the data, hey, I'm really good at this. There's something that Christina's really good at, right? There's something that Linda is among the best in the world at doing, right? Mandy, Giovanna, here she is, right? You rock. I mean, you're very able, very, very able. Well, then go be able then. without all of this self-doubt. My goodness. We do ourselves in. Thinking without precedent. Who's got some thoughts about this? Anybody? I know we've got an intimate group here today. I see Ace Man, Bob, Missy, Christina, Daisy, Edward, Giovanna, Janet's here, Linda, Lindsay, Mandy, and Virginia. What's going on, you guys? Let's get Linda out here. Hey, Linda.
Hey, John. Hey, everyone.
Mhm.
So for me, you talked about vision. So, and that's the thing I've been really struggling with. And I've been studying this book called Power of Awareness. And I've been just studying the chapter on desire, because that's where I lack the vision. I lack the desire to do the thing that I know I want to do, but it wasn't there. And there was this one sentence that really resonated with me. And it was, if you will not imagine yourself as other than what you are, then you remain what you are. So that was like so empowering to me, because then I have to let go. I have to let go of the old me. And I just wasn't willing or able to do that.
Mhm.
So anyways, it fits in with everything that you're saying. It's like we hear these things over and over and over again. It's just that one little thing. So because of that, now I'm focused on what I want to do. I kind of tweaked my desire to go in a different way for different reasons. And that really helped me a lot.
Well, good. Well, glad you're here, Linda. So let's accomplish something. Let's let the world know about it. Here comes Linda, everybody.
That's right.
Awesome. Here she comes.
Here I come. Look out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And look,
no, that sentence was so empowering to me. It was just amazing.
yeah. For those who don't know, Linda and I spent time together on the firing line at the gun range, right? So I know Linda. I trust Linda. I think Linda's friggin' awesome, right? You don't just show up and do that with people you don't like. Linda, you're amazing. Glad you're here.
You're amazing too.
Thank you. Who else has some ideas you'd like to share on this? I'd love to hear from some more peoples. All right. And Linda, if you want to put that sentence in the chat, that would be cool, so we can all behold its glory. Hey, Missy, you're here. Hi, Missy. What's going on with you?
I missed the beginning because I had a client.
Oh, well, that's good. Customer comes first. Yep.
But a life-changing thing happened to me right before the client. My friend since lifelong suddenly went off the radar. And I've been texting her, and my birthday was the other day. And since the 9th grade, she has never failed to call me on my birthday, but she failed this year, and she just sent a happy birthday in 2 words. No card, no nothing. And I said, are you okay? Because she's had Lyme disease 3 times. Her husband had neurological. He was in like a coma, Lyme's disease. So I thought something must be wrong. So I just said, is everything okay? I'm just checking in. And she wrote back this blast against me. And she's kind of like a passive person. So just telling me how her mom is nearing 90. And I've taken care of both my parents. So I have been giving her some hard-earned advice, because she doesn't live near the moms. Anyway, to cut to the chase, she said, your parenting, take care of parent advice, and your politics are very different from mine. Now, we've known each other since we're like 12 years old. I don't care what her politics are. I never. And she said, so you unsettled me, and I need space. There's been space for 4 months. So what I did was, not in a peak of anger or just calmly, especially after the book study last night, I just said, because I'm transforming physiologically, I'm trying to get well from my mistaken thoughts, and I can't have this. I said, why weren't you just honest with me instead of leaving me out to hang to dry, I said, you know what I'm going through? She knows how sick I have been. And I said, if you need that much space from me, I made a decision and I cut it off. And it was a very hard decision. Yeah, I cried. But I don't need this kind of crazy nonsense in my life. But I made a hard and fast decision. And that doesn't mean I can't forgive and forget and come back if she comes back to me. But I'm not doing this crazy crap in it. But people don't like that I'm changing. I am noticing. Because I have another lifelong friend that has also backed off from me since I opened a store. And I don't really understand that because I'm very happy for her when she has a grandchild. But this transformation is sometimes, I guess unsettling is a good word for people. But I'm not going to be hung out to dry till when she decides, oh, now I'll talk to you. I'm not doing that. I don't know if I've made the right decision or the wrong decision, but I made a decision. It's not on my plate anymore. And I made it quick and I went on to my client. So it's just a decision I felt I had to make. I don't want to lose this friendship, but it's part of the transformation to make a decision. And some people, maybe that summer of life is over. And I ended it on a high note, like George Costanza. I said, I will always treasure our happy days from high school and all that. And thanks for those days. And you'll always be in my heart, something like that. So, but it was a hard thing. I'm still feeling it now as I'm talking about it. But transformation is hard. And I guess it involves letting go of some parts of you that no longer serve. I don't know. It wasn't for me when she wrote these things to me. She cares that much about my politics that she doesn't want to be my friend anymore. I mean, we don't even talk about politics. So it's a very strange thing, but this transformation in me goes out. I know that now. And maybe she's feeling something that she can't even express. But if anybody else has any words on that, I'd love to hear it myself, because I don't know if I've made the right decision, but I made a decision.
Okay. Well, we could see who else has some thoughts on that. I certainly have thoughts on that. And because I know that you just love the idea of everything that has become the United States, at least up until recently. I mean, the foundational principles of truth, justice, liberty, all that, right?
She was the same way. I don't know when she changed, because we don't talk about politics.
Okay. Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about what she's calling politics, maybe what she's really talking about is civics. And so because politics is downstream from civics and culture. So there's a cultural shift that has been going on, and a lot of people have recognized it, and a lot of people have no idea what's going on. And there's a widening gap, and this is by design, right? If you look at mass media and everything that's going on right now to divide people. And so it sounds like she is the effect of some narrative or something. I mean, did you just suddenly appear like, oh, I'm a whole new Missy or something, and
No.
I'm entrepreneurial and God bless America and whatever? No. So how do you deal with irrational? This came up last night. I had one of our members here came to me and said, hey, I've got this person and they're reacting or responding this way, and any ideas, any suggestions? And I was like, I don't, how do you deal with irrational and insane? I don't know, and that's an extreme case, right? In fact, you had one, Missy. I know that I got to see a little oratory. They come in groups, right? But we had a group of for one of our business projects, a group of leads that came in, and some of these people are like, whoa, kind of like, anybody see the movies Pirates of the Caribbean, where Johnny Depp portrays Captain Jack Sparrow, and he's all kind of like wacky and like swatting imaginary flies, basically. But like that sort of non sequitur, like how do you reconcile that? I don't know how to benefit a person who is irrational or insane. I suppose just be a good example, right? Because all this stuff comes, full course, right? So continue to be the on purpose person you are. In fact, there's a book written by a guy named Kevin McCarthy called The On Purpose Person, which I read some decades ago. I should probably read it again. But one of the ideas that were offered in that book was that if everything you do is on purpose, like you have a predetermined purpose for every interaction, like for example, in the book, he gives the example of the guy, his phone rings and he picks up the phone, and instead of answering the phone, hello, this is Bob or whatever, he answered the phone, what is the purpose of this call? So that gets right to it. Okay. But what is that? That's 100% objective, cold and calculated, which isn't, the normal state of, I mean, you want to probably answer the phone differently than that. You probably do answer the phone differently than that, assuming you answer your calls. These days, we get so many damn robocalls. I don't answer any calls unless I know who it is. But the idea that you could be that objective or emotionally detached from it, like what is the purpose of this call? Okay, so we could see that if purposes are conflicting, right, and then there's one party who is having some irrational emotional reaction or something, does that mean you also have to get irrational and emotional about stuff, or can you just be more objective? Granted, this is a lifelong what you're qualifying as a friendship. Okay, I've got people who were in my life for years and years and years, and I went in a different direction. You know what's interesting about all this, and we can continue to hear other people's thoughts on it. The interesting about this, to me, is where you've got someone who chooses to leave the herd, so to speak, and the reaction or the kickback, right, of people who are so deeply married to and indoctrinated into herd thinking or group think is so violent for themselves sometimes that it just you have to observe it. You're gonna hear some of it, right? And so I think the purpose of the herd is to keep you in the herd. So you left the herd. You see. So what are you expecting? Are you expecting to gain agreement from all of the animals in the herd? No. I mean, you got a few. This is a story that was promulgated by Scott Alexander. He wrote the book Rhinoceros Success back in 1980. And he said, you got cows and you got rhinos. And here's the cows, right? Chewing their cud on the pasture, waiting for the slaughter and whatever. And here's the rhino who's dissatisfied with the cow pasture. I want to go to the promised land. But to do that, you got to charge through the jungle, which, the jungle's not always a friendly place, right? There's thorns and spikes and there's hunters shooting arrows and stuff. Now, the cows, of course, they're thin skinned. But the rhino has 2 inches thick armor-like skin, big horns sticking out of the head. Charge. Okay. Disagreement. So you're not going to gain the respect of the rhinos and the cows. Choose. Okay. Now, the punchline to all this is that we're all rhinos, but most of us have been conned into believing that we're cows. And so we act like it. We smell like it. We, all of it. Cow living, right? Go be the rhino. Just don't expect the respect of the cows. All right. Or you look amiss. You will be disappointed. Mandy, you've got some thoughts on this? Hey, Mandy.
I'm coming out. Sorry, I moved my thingy to the other side so I could see my chat, and then I couldn't see my microphone. Yes, quite a bit was coming up, but I was trying to put it in a good way. So, Missy, have you ever read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People?
Yes, when it first came out.
Yeah. There's a chapter in there that I've been, for different reasons, saying to people recently. Well, a chapter, it's a habit. So it's habit number 5. And it's seek first to understand and then to be understood. And it is such a good chapter. So my question would be, well, I didn't hear everything you said about your friend, but did you ask her? I don't think you did you? If you can get into a conversation with her and ask her why she's saying what she's saying.
She said, because I was just giving her some tips on helping an elderly parent, which I wish someone had told me. I wasn't, she's acting like I accused. She said, you told me I didn't do something or I did something. I said, no, that is not true. at all. I would never. She takes better care of her mother from her afar than her brother does. The mother lives in the house with him. And she said, that's when she went to our politics are different. And then she said, the worst part was, it's not that I'm never going to contact you again, but I need some space. Well, there's been 4 months of space. I said, if you need that much space, take it all. Take it all. You don't need me. I said, I'm in the middle of a transformation and I can't have any kind of negative. I said, why didn't you bring it up at the time and be honest with me? I can take it. And we'll just stop that discussion. We won't go down that road. Like, it seems to me there's more. I said, you've been thinking about this a long time. She's a very passive person, keeps it to herself, but that didn't help our friendship. It now destroyed our friendship for me.
So she comes out of it when she starts off passive, and then she starts to come out of it when she gets something.
But I never said anything accusatory about her. I said, maybe you can try this with your mom, this power of attorney, because they're keeping her out of it. Yeah. And I said, you're going to get cut out if you don't. But I never said, you better do this. I really didn't, because she's a gentle type person. So I don't speak that way to her. We just usually talk about old times. And anyway, it was just shocking. But God must want me to.
The reason I brought that chapter out is because, and it is worth going back to it for so many people, and anything that we're doing, we're listening, because it's how, I think one of the things that's falling down in society at the moment, and this isn't you, this is society, is we're not listening to the other party properly. We're listening to have our answer rather than listening to what they really think and then dealing with that. And it's empathic listening, so it's different to active listening. And so it's really getting into what they really think. That doesn't mean that they will listen back, which is also the same issue. Everyone's in the same place. And I know I raised this the other day, but I really worry about what's happening in the States at the moment. And I won't go into it too much, but I do really worry about how it's being divisive and how these sides and these sides won't, everyone's ingrained in their own beliefs about where things are going, and it is in the politics. And I don't know whether that's what she meant by the politics, whether it's just been over the last few years or what your politics are, but there's definitely a divisive thing, whether it's happening from this side, whether it's happening from that side, doesn't really matter. The end of the day is that it's happening. And I worry where it's going to end. I really do. From over here, I worry where it's going to end. And if people don't start listening to each other, it was the same over here with Brexit. When we had Brexit, the Leavers and the Remainers would not listen to each other at all. As soon as they said something back. And if only they would follow what was in that chapter, at least try to understand, and people try to understand each other.
Brainwashed people cannot listen. They're not capable. Brainwashed people cannot listen and have a normal conversation.
No, that's right. But who's to say which side's brainwashed? You know, you can see, because every person believes that it's their side that's the one that's brainwashed. It's the other side that's brainwashed.
Well, who's setting the fires and rioting? I think that's
I think hold on. Let me jump in there on that. Whichever one can confront facts is not brainwashed. Right?
Yes.
So if we're able to look at facts, not opinion, not commentary from agenda riddled propagandists, if we're able to look at facts, well, now we can have a conversation.
Yes, but and I don't want to go down that thing again, because I know we're different, but the facts over here with people who aren't getting vaccinated could be the same over there. People over here are looking at what they believe are facts, and they're looking at those facts, and as far as they're believing their facts and they're not getting vaccinated.
I'm not asking about belief. I'm talking about facts, cold, hard, objective fact, not belief.
But people these are their facts. They're not beliefs. They're going into YouTube. They're finding things about other doctors that have said don't get vaccinated, and these people are saying get vaccinated. Okay. But these people aren't getting vaccinated. But they believe they're facts. I've got a friend who won't get vaccinated, and I know you probably have there.
I'm not vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly. You 100%
get that.
Exactly. But and I'm not passing judgment on anything here. What I'm saying is everybody believes that they are going from facts, whichever side you're on. And that's where the problem is, because they think it's a fact and they think it's a fact. Where is the truth anymore?
Well, I can show you.
So when they admit that they've lied, they've admitted they've lied. They have their own papers where they've written this stuff down and planned it for years. You can find it online.
Exactly, but you can find the opposite online. One thing we learned in power consistency. One of the things we learned in power consistency is something called the reticular activating system.
Yes.
What that does is it will whatever you believe, it will prove it right, because it will take you to whatever it needs to find, and it will take you down that route to what you, because what it does is it doesn't allow you to see other things because it wants to prove you right. And therefore it takes you to the bits that you need to see and ignores everything.
Mandy, it can't prove that I'm a man. And it can't
Oh,
prove that
no.
John is a girl. It
No,
can't prove.
no. But do you,
It
but do
could if you were
believe
looking for
Hold
it.
on a second. It's just those girls talking here today, right? Hold
yeah,
on.
you don't believe that though, do you? TikTok's always consistent.
That's a useful joke. I use it all the time. I usually get a joke.
Yeah, that bit won't. But I do believe that RAS is a really good thing, and that was the same thing with Brexit. The RAS was taking people down that route and that route, and I don't want to. I'm just trying to put a different side to it related to what you said in your friend and why, people talking. I don't want to get into
I appreciate it.
one way or the other, because that's
Right.
what I've said to my friend is that's his choice if he gets vaccinated or doesn't get vaccinated. So yeah, that's so I just think look at that chapter, and just bear in mind that everybody believes that the facts are their facts. I worry. I'll continue to worry.
Love you, Mandy.
Thank you.
I have something I'd like
Hey,
to
Christina.
contribute.
And then we'll
Hi,
hear from Lindsay
John.
as well. Hey, Christina.
Bob and Missy, every time I see you, I always think of Bob Marley when I see Bob. It's Bob and Missy. Anyway, a couple of things came to mind when you were talking. A book I read ages ago, I've bought several copies. Every time I lend it to someone, I have to buy a new copy. It is called The Four Agreements. It's pretty simple, and you can download a real easy summary of it. First agreement is be a person of your word. Number 2 agreement is, I think Oprah said this in her first magazine, it was what gave her permission to come into her own. Never take anything personally, because what your girlfriend is going through is her journey, and you're taking it personally. It's not really about you, it's what she's going through, and it's difficult. I've broken up with guys that I've been married 3 times, and I've had marriages end that when I look back over time, I've had friendships end that were much more painful to say goodbye to for some reason, and primarily girlfriends, anyway. I just share that with you. The third part of the 4 agreements is don't make assumptions. So you did ask her a few questions. And I like the 4th agreement tremendously because it says, you know what? This is all a dream. And if you don't like what's going on right now, just rejig your dream, rewrite. And you're in that transformation zone now. So you're rewriting your dream. Your girlfriend has issues. God bless her. Say a prayer for her. Cut her adrift. She comes back, she doesn't. It's her problem. But, all the agony, it's just hard to feel. Anyway, that's all. The other thing my dad used to say is, my mind's made up. Don't confuse me with the facts.
There you go. Isn't the 4th agreement be impeccable with your word?
Yeah. No. Be impeccable with your word is number 1. Number 2 is don't make assumptions. So, for example, in what Oprah said, like she had suffered tremendous indignities to her body and her soul as a young person, and realizing that it wasn't because of her set her free. That's my brother who just bounced his call. Okay. So, set yourself free. Your girlfriend has a journey that's, you can't fix for her.
Got it. Well, thank you, Christina, for your perspective. Let's hear from Lindsay as well. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, you said something that caught my attention when you said that choose a friend that you don't really talk politics with. You just sit back and, talk about what used to be in the old times. I had a friend like that, and that was probably my last string she quit calling me, and that's how it started. It was my birthday, for 20 years. Well, no, more than that. But the last year she didn't. But it's fine. I kept putting off calling her, and I was like, I don't even know her anymore. But I'm not sad about it. We just went in two totally different directions. We weren't growing anymore as friends, so it was time for me to say, peace out. I don't know. But that just caught my attention when you start reminiscing, you're not talking about new ideas and that kind of thing. So that just popped up in my head.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lindsay. These aren't like completely unique experiences. So whatever we're going through, and in case Missy brought up, a very recent experience, it's not, you're not the first person in the world to go through it, right? And so thank you all for your perspectives on this. What an interesting meeting we had here today. This is great. Let's do it again. What do you guys think? Do it again? Okay, let's do it again tomorrow. We're going to have Glenn here tomorrow, but tonight at 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern US time, we've got Ivier Barnabas with Corporate Curios. I think I'm going to be able to tune into that too. Wow, I've actually got flexibility today. Call the press. Actually, don't call the press. They don't report anything true. I'll see you guys again.